Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Super pumped you're here today as we are rocking and rolling, having some fun and getting ready to take it on today. Remember, your morning ritual is so important. You know, we're here for you. You might not need us all the time. I was just talking to somebody that's a Morning Coach member the other day, how they're going through a big transition and they kind of fell off for a little while and then listened to a couple coach casts and got back up and really were able to get through it. You know, I equate it to being like a pilot. Like, it's great when you go fly. Typically, you know, the plane is flying itself, but every once in a while, if something happens, right, you need that pilot to take over and make sure that plane is safe. And that's what we do here. You know, we're with you every day. This is about consistency. It's about organization. It's about learning. And we're not a course. This is a system that I always talk about, you know, connecting to a system, which is our primary function is what gets you started in the morning. And then the secondary is to, you know, get AI tools, whether it's I, myself, Jurgen, other community members, Dr. Paul and longevity, bringing you great ideas, you know, all these things that we're doing ancillary to the base structure is going to help you. And that's what we're here for. And you don't need everything all the time. It's just when you need it, you know where to turn. We're going to be here right at Morning Coach. Just as I want you to get in this habit of having a great routine in the morning, you know, taking time for self-care, listen to the Coach Cast, you know, get your planner organized, do those 7 Ps, you know, get the right perspective. This is a new morning. It's a new day. It's a new week, right? And then get those priorities in place, you know, and then let's get a little better every day. Focus on improved performance. And then if you just have some patience and allow things to work, it gets there. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like we're getting there. It feels like we're running in on the beach or in sand, right? But if we do the basics and we're constantly optimizing, and as the Kaizen in Japanese, you know, constant and improvement, you are going to get there. We're going to get there. And whatever there is different from each of us. But we do it with a morning routine. We do it with a morning ritual. And that's what's so important about Morning Coach, is that we're going to connect. And then all the other stuff outside of it, and my baby, intelligent life design, you know, taking that expertise, learning how to leave your legacy, you know, getting retirement out of your vocabulary. Let's work on all these things together. Community is unbelievable. Make sure you stop by, say hello to a couple of the people, look at the system that we have. If you go into the longevity area, or you go in the AI area, or you go in intelligent life design, you're going to see we don't launch Intelligent Life Design till the summer, but I put it up there now since we're starting to talk about it. I'm going to start putting content up there. But when you go in there, you're going to see discussion groups, and then you'll see other planning areas. We've really broken down everything to help you. And again, do not be overwhelmed. If you're brand new, don't worry. It's okay. Just get your plan in place. Start with the base of Morning Coach. But there is a lot here, and that's my goal. My goal is to make the greatest personal evolution system out there, and all of us, how do we do that? With you, with the community, right? So I appreciate you. All right, let's get into this week. We've got a great week planned. You know, we're talking about money this week. It is a due week or due month for those of you that are in our plan, which is probably everybody. So you should be executing on your plan right now. We'll be checking that next month, but right now we're in a due. And we're into money, so we're going to talk a little bit about money this week. We got a good one today talking about, is money the root of all evil? And real quick before we do that, head on over to morningcoach.com and click the join button. That way you can look at the memberships that we have available. We have our full Morning Coach membership, which I would suggest you do. We have a 7-day trial going on right now. You can try it out for $1. It's $100 a month after that. Amazing systems. So much going on. Just go check it out. And then we do have an energy program, which gives you the daily coach cast. If you've been with me for years, you're like, JB, I just want the daily coach cast every day. We do have that membership, $30 a month. You can go join there. We're very simple. There's no sizzle here. We'll talk about that if you're listening to the Coach Cast and understand why we do what we do. But it's really important that if you're really ready to make massive changes, to get consistent, then head over to morningcoach.com and join this wonderful community. If you're a professional, somebody looking for that edge, then you need to join. So head on over to morningcoach.com, click that join button, and you won't have to hear these ads. All right, let's get back to the show. I love doing this one because whenever I say root, people make fun of me. I got this Chicago, I guess, Midwestern accent. I don't know if you say root root. I think I say it right, but people always make fun, and I don't mind. I enjoy. I'm laughing at myself here, but it's the root. Is it the root of all evil? We're going to go over that today. We'll have fun with that. The root. Tomorrow we're doing the psychology of money. I really like this book. We're going to do part 2, timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and happiness. So we'll get into that tomorrow. Wednesday we got losing the hype, moving away from the sizzle. I want to talk about some of the things that I'm doing, turning over a new leaf. And I want to share that with you because I think the world is changing a little bit, and it's important that we adjust accordingly. And the one thing I know that hasn't changed is authenticity, and you're going to get that every day. But we're going to get rid of the sizzle and just really focus on the steak, right? And I'll go over that Wednesday. You'll want to be here for that. On Thursday, I've got a question came in that says, how do I create a massive momentum shift? So I want to talk about changing momentum. You know, we talk about that in sports. When I used to coach football, you know, if somebody breaks a kickoff back for a touchdown, you know, you can feel it in the stadium. You can feel it. Basketball, you feel somebody break away and a team starts to go, what do coaches do? They call a timeout. They call a timeout. Why are they doing that? They're breaking the momentum. And sometimes we need to break the momentum and get a new start. We don't want to be Sisyphus who's pushing the boulder up the hill and having it fall back down all the time. We want to get that boulder up top of the boulder. Into Greek mythology is what I'm talking about there. But Sisyphus was destined to push the rock up the hill, and then it would fall back down. He'd push it back up. We want to push the rock up the hill and have it go down the other side. And that's the intelligent life design life we're going to talk about. And that's what we're going to talk about, the momentum shift. How do we get that rock up there so we can see this momentum start to help us? Friday, we got ILD lifestyle. I told you we're getting into ILD a little bit. We're going to talk about prosperity, using money and loving people instead of loving money and using people. The little principle that we have in ILD will be a good one. Dr. Paul on Saturday with our longevity area. You can check that out too by going into the longevity area. And then finally, Sunday, we've got enjoying the process, slowing it down, and understanding the relativity of time. So a great week plan. A lot of things happening. Again, come on and check out the meetups, the things that we've got going on. There's a little news section, all the hubs that are launching, a lot of things. Don't get overwhelmed. Just use what you need for you and your personal life, the journey you're on, and we're here to give you and help and push you towards your best life. That's what we're doing together, and it's an exciting time. All right, so let's talk about this. Is money the root of all evil? Well, we're tackling, it's, one of the most misquoted ideas out there. And it's this idea that money is the root of all evil. The common version is money is the root of all evil. We've all heard that. And one of the things we have to understand is our belief systems that when we grew up with money can really dictate what's happening with us. A couple weeks ago, I talked about how not wanting to be a narcissist can hurt you because you don't want to get out there and, be seen as a narcissist. Same thing with money. Like, money is one of those things that a lot of people think's evil. I talked about my parents and my stepfather and my mother had the biggest fights because they would go to the drawer and somebody would have taken money out and they'd have these big fights over $40, $60. Who took the money out of the drawer? I have total PTSD from that. I don't even want to talk about it because it drives me nuts. And you really start feeling that, like, wow, money's bad. And then there's the other aspect of rich people are evil. And you see this with a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people that just hate people. And I get it. Look, I can understand, somebody that's like 8th generation and they have billions of dollars because their great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa, built some company and they have never done anything. I get it. I get it. But I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on my own structure, my own wealth, my own life, and really focus on what I have and not get caught up in that. Because if you get caught up in that, you're pushing money away because you're thinking money's bad. But the actual biblical quote, let's go into, because this is a biblical quote that people always say, money is the root of all evil. But the actual biblical quote is 1 Timothy 6:10. And we're not going to make this a religious show today, but I want to talk about where this comes from. And the quote says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So let's repeat that. It's not money is the root of all evil. It's for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So the difference is the focus is on attachment obsession, not money itself. Okay? So that's where the issue is. It's the love of money, the attachment to money, the obsession about money. And it shaped the mindset and subconscious beliefs around money for centuries. Literally centuries, people have said this, right? And they've pushed money away. And we don't want to push money away. Money is a magnifier. The more money I make, the more dogs I can save, the more cats I can save, the more horses I can save. That's my mission. And I want to do that, right? So I need to make more money. I think of Andrew Carnegie. If you've read his stuff and you look at the libraries and look at everything, he built industry to give it away. And I just love that idea. Let's go out there and make a difference. So that's the origin, understanding that. And money is a tool, not a moral agent. So I think it's really important to understand. And since we're talking about the Bible, let's talk a little bit about this. Jesus spoke more about money than almost any other topic, not to demonize it, but to teach stewardship and detachment. I think it's really important if you understand biblical thought, and I personally believe in spiritual text, and I've thought about bringing spiritual book study back and making it a hub. If that's something that interests you, let me know. I used to do spiritual book study. As you know, my PhD's in metaphysics. I studied the world's religions. And I believe when it comes to spiritual ideals, like when we start talking about the Bible, that you need to read it and disseminate it for what it is for you at that time. Right? So spiritual texts to me are very sacred, but I also understand that everybody's at a different time. So I hate to say what any meaning is, but I think this makes a point that, in the Bible, as you're reading it and looking at all the different quotes and all the different times, that really what was being taught was stewardship and not detachment, not to demonize money as it has been. So it's important. And prosperity in the Bible, Abraham, Solomon, Joseph, they were abundantly blessed, yet served others. So it's really about prosperity consciousness. It's about balance, values, and purpose, and knowing what you're going to do with the money. Money is a magnifier. If you're a jerk, you're just going to be a bigger jerk. So use it and understand it and allow it to come in. So I really believe that money is a scorecard and money is energy, meaning as you go out there and do things, you will be rewarded. And it's part of ILD because we've got to build freedom into our life. I want you to have options. ILD is really about options in life. So what happens is money allows you to do more good. Invest in your mission, support your family, and live a values-driven life. Problems arise when money becomes the goal instead of the byproduct of value. And I want to scream this from the top of the mountains. And if you write one thing down, it would be this. Problems arise when money becomes the goal instead of the byproduct of value. And that's what a lot of people don't get. And it's why I have so many problems on social media. Because it's about value. What are you doing? And I have a lot of friends and I'm trying to get them to change their mindset to this idea. But they just aren't there. This isn't a conscious thing that we teach in the schools and other areas. So we want to understand that. And then Friday, we're going to talk about using money and loving people, instead of loving money and using people. And we're going to build that up on Friday. We'll talk about it, right? And I'll help you with that. But right now, just understand money allows you to do more good, invest in your mission, support your family, and live a values-driven life. And problems arise when money becomes the goal instead of the byproduct of value. So we want to learn to create more value. When we do our morning ritual, and I say take time for self-care, that gives you the energy, the ideas. Listen to CoachCast so you're getting some good ideas. Go out and organize your day. And what are we doing? We're having the right perspective. We're setting priorities, and we're focused on improved performance. You will be rewarded for that in some manner or some form. So what are we going to do? What do we want to do today? Well, I want you to reflect. Do I have any limiting beliefs around money from childhood or religion? I really want you to think about that. Because that's where most lack comes from. It comes from the things that happen in our childhood and the religion or the spiritual leaders that have told us something, right? So you got to understand what's really happening. And I want you to journal, if you got your journal out today, and I want you to journal, here's a prompt. How can I use money for good this week? How can I use money for good this week? So we want to organize our finances and really get ourselves ready to roll. And again, part of the reason we do the ILD spreadsheet is to really have some sense of organizational flow with our money, to understand what's happening. Now, if you're somebody that's already got this down, and we have a lot of people that are, right, and you're here for productivity, that's great. But again, remember, this CoachCast here, a lot of times is not just for you. It's for your children, your employees, and others, so you can understand what they are going through. And it's giving you resources and tools so you can talk to them. If you ever have somebody discuss this topic, you can step back and do it from an empathetic standpoint. Instead of being a teller, you can be somebody that listens and responds. That's really what makes a difference in a great relationship. If you're just yelling, which most people do, right? And they just yell, oh, money's the root of all evil, and they just start fighting. It's like, well, look, I get it. I'm glad you feel that way. And we can do feel, felt, found, which is one of my favorite things to do. I'm glad you feel that way, but what we found is this, right? Feel, felt, found. I'm glad. Wait, let me do it again. You guys always laugh when I screw these things up, but I know how you feel. I felt money was I felt the same way. And what I felt or feel, felt, found. Okay. I know how you feel. I felt the same way too. I thought money was the root of all evil, but what I found was it's not the root of all evil. It is 1 Timothy 16, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. The love of money, that's what I found. So again, just going back, I should put me on the spot there. Feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way too, and this is what I found. So anytime you're in a discussion with somebody, put that in your you're a leader and you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and you're having an issue. You can feel, felt, found anything. I know how you feel. I felt the same way too. And this is what I found. Okay. So just using in this context, somebody says, I get it. You feel money is the root of all evil. I felt that way too. But what I found is 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, all kinds of evil. So, hey, let's have a great Monday. I hope you're having a blast with me. We're not perfect. None of this is perfect, but you just keep pushing things out there and believe in yourself, have some fun, and allow the money to come. It's just a magnifier. Let's get out there and use it so that we can invest in the areas that we need to invest. We can make a difference out there, and money is energy. It allows you to do more good, invest in your mission, support your family, and live a values-driven life. Let's do that. Let's live a values-driven life and have some fun. And again, make sure you head on over to MorningCoach.com. If you have not joined yet, you need to do it. Get over there and get started today. The decision starts when you click that button and you join. That's when all the changes start. And I can't wait to see you as a MorningCoach.com community member. So head over to MorningCoach.com. Click the join button and join us at MorningCoach.com.